The entire Twin Cities area is currently undergoing a massive makeover. Cities that used to be nothing but farmland are now becoming the fastest growing cities in the metro area. Brand new communities are popping up almost everywhere, and even established cities are going through complete overhauls that will forever change their identities. But how is this going to affect the Twin Cities as a whole? And are these changes good or bad for the people that live here? Stay tuned to find out. What's going on, guys? Brandon Archie here, aka your favorite Minnesota realtor, and today we're going to be diving into some big changes going on in the Twin Cities and how these changes are completely reshaping how people here live. And make sure to stay to the end of the video because we're going to also be talking about some of the biggest developments currently happening in the Twin Cities today. But first, as always, if you are thinking about moving to Minnesota, whether it be now or next year, then shoot me an email at brandon@archiehomesgroup.com so that we can schedule a meeting to talk about what it is you're looking for and put together a plan to make your move as smooth as possible. Now, let's get started. Now, new construction is both exciting and sometimes nerve-wracking. On one hand, it can be very interesting to see what new developments are coming in your neighborhood, like new restaurants, new job opportunities, and brand new communities. But on the other hand, new construction can also bring about some unwanted change as well, such as road closures, an uptick in traffic, and depending on what's going up, a higher property tax bill. One of the most recent series of developments happening right now is in the city of Dayton, which also happens to currently be the fastest growing city in the Twin Cities. But for residents who have always lived in Dayton because of its rural nature, all of these new developments may come as a shock. Now, just a handful of years ago, not a single one of these homes were here, and Dayton was literally just farmland. And what used to be views of open fields from your backyard has now become hundreds of brand new homes and increased traffic in what used to be a quiet neighborhood. Now the expansion of the Twin Cities outward has turned this city into a developer's dream, with multiple communities on the rise, one of which is a proposed 267 homes as well as a 43,000 square foot commercial building. Now, if you know anything about Dayton, you pretty much have to drive in order to get to anything because, again, this used to be a very rural city. But now that all of these new communities are being built, more and more amenities need to be provided in order to service this new boom in population growth. A prime example is with the new commercial building that I just mentioned. It will include a restaurant, coffee shop, a convenience store, a daycare, and 10,000 square feet of retail space. This new population increase is also attracting the attention of well-known companies like Graco, which is one of Minneapolis's largest public companies. Now, Graco has been headquartered in Northeast Minneapolis for over 80 years, and just recently announced that this year they're moving their corporate headquarters to Dayton. Now, Graco currently employs 1,500 employees locally, and with them moving their headquarters to Dayton, it will also unlock multiple job opportunities that weren't available previously. So, while some long-term residents of Dayton may not welcome all this change, it's pretty clear that new construction brings about more than just new homes. Now, let me know in the comments what you think about rural areas being developed and if you think they're a good thing or a bad thing for the community overall. Now, next I want to head over to the city of Blaine, which is in the northern suburbs of the Twin Cities. Now, unlike Dayton, Blaine is not by any means a rural city. In fact, Blaine is the 10th largest city in Minnesota. Now, you would think that a city this big would already be pretty established, and you'd be right. Now, Blaine already has a large number of amenities, including a national sports complex, plenty of parks and trails, and they even have a nationally recognized golf course that hosts the PGA Tour every summer. But even despite all of this, even Blaine recognizes the need to compete with other cities, and not only being a city that people want to live in, but also a city that attracts people from all over to visit. So much so that they're willing to invest a whopping $750 million to do it. And the one word that describes the new identity that Blaine is shooting for? Entertainment. Now, the city of Blaine just recently broke ground on a $750 million project aimed at making them the entertainment hub of the Twin Cities, as well as a tourist destination focused on bringing in more tax revenue. Now, what they're calling this project is the Sports and Entertainment District, which will include high-end restaurants, a concert venue, and even a sports field that will host a minor league baseball team. Now, this district will also have hotels and apartment complexes aimed at keeping tourists in the city. Now, although there are new communities being built in Blaine currently, the city wants to instead shift their main focus more on providing residents with more entertainment options and businesses so that the people that come to Blaine stay in Blaine. Now, Blaine is a prime example of how new construction can be used to help a city bring in more tax revenue and amenities to current residents versus just piling more homes on top of each other. Now, Blaine isn't the only city doing major developments like this either. Now, if you watched any of my other videos, you probably have heard me talk about the Health Village development currently under construction in Maple Grove, which if you haven't seen that video, you can watch here. But the one thing that makes projects like these stand out to me is an emerging trend that I've noticed currently happening all over the Twin Cities. The suburbs are changing how we live our daily lives. But before I explain what I mean by that, if you are finding this video helpful so far or interesting, then make sure to hit that like button for me, and also please consider subscribing. So one thing about the Twin Cities is that when you wanted to go to a nice restaurant, find fun things to do, or just go socialize, that you would typically have to either go to Minneapolis or St. Paul, especially if you lived outside of the first ring suburbs. But the pandemic sparked a major tipping point on how people lived as well as how businesses operate. And most of that came when a vast majority of the workforce started working from home. Now, once people realized that they didn't have to worry about commuting to and from Minneapolis for work, it opened up their options as far as where they could live. Now, a lot of people opted into living in the suburbs that were farther away from the city, which is what initially started the construction boom and development of previously rural cities. And with suburbs seeing such a rise in population, they also started to realize that if they could keep the people in the city and attract new businesses, that they could also increase tax revenue. Now, what we're seeing now is a rise in businesses flocking to the suburbs, multiple restaurants opening up new locations, suburbs creating downtown areas that didn't even previously exist. And one huge step that Minnesota is taking, as well as what some cities are currently piloting, is what they're calling social districts. Now, the Minnesota Senate recently approved a bill that would allow cities to create what they're calling social districts, which would allow cities to allow outdoor consumption of alcohol in commercial areas. Now, the goal is to create a boost of local business as well as promote community engagement. As of now, the city of Anoka is the only city that has an active social district, and since then, they've seen a huge boost in businesses in the area. Now, Stillwater is also considering creating one, as well as other cities like Edina, Blaine, and Lakeville. And Shakopee was recently approved for not one, but two social districts, one of which being at Canterbury Park, which is a horse racetrack and casino. Now, Canterbury is currently undergoing a $400 million development known as Canterbury Commons, with the goal of creating over 40 acres of entertainment. Now, a major part of this development is building the largest outdoor amphitheater in Minnesota, designed to hold 19,000 people. Now, this project will ensure that Shakopee becomes a destination in the summer for anyone who loves live music and outdoor events, with over 30 events expected to happen each year. Now, in the words of the Vice President of Real Estate for Canterbury, he says, and I quote, "Our team recognizes the tremendous potential of Canterbury Commons, and we are committed to curating a number of uses as we target entertainment options and brands that are new to the greater Shakopee community and the state of Minnesota." And with that statement, we hear it again, the word entertainment. Now, I think this is a larger indicator of where the Twin Cities is heading. Now, cities are expanding amenities to help boost community engagement and local businesses, as well as attracting people from all over to come visit. Now, I also love the fact that people no longer have to drive all the way to Minneapolis to find fun things to do. New construction is a very polarizing topic, with some people loving it and some people hating it. But as you can see, new communities also do a lot of good by bringing new things for residents to enjoy, as well as bringing in more jobs. What do you think? Now, when most people think about Minnesota, they mostly think that we're just this cold, boring state that has nothing to offer. But it's becoming very clear that the Twin Cities has something different to say about that. The suburbs are evolving, the state is passing more legislature that allows us to better compete with other states, and the Twin Cities is further showing why Minnesota is consistently ranked one of the best states to live in year after year. And this is just the tip of the iceberg. Now, there are so many other cities in the Twin Cities that are doing similar projects like these that I would never be able to cover them in a single video. But if you want me to cover other projects like these in future videos, then leave a comment below. But in the meantime, if you are thinking about buying a home in Minnesota and you want to learn more about what that process looks like, then you should watch this video next.